shot, Babu. The Facebook game is in the building.
Into the end zone. Five Nation, stand up.
Hope everybody having a blessed Sunday, man. Let's get to this recap, though, man. Let's get to this recap. Let me start by saying I love all the energy in the comments, whether we agree, whether we disagree, whether you like the picks, don't like the picks. Everybody's opinion is valued the same. I don't care if you've been covering the NFL for 50 years or you've only been watching the NFL for 50 minutes. I appreciate everybody's comments and engagement when it comes to this Tennessee Titans community and any other teams that we cover, or any other things that we cover. Like my opinion is not more valuable, has no more weight than the next man's. I think when you start thinking that you're smarter than your audience is when you sometimes set yourself up for failure. But nevertheless, man, we're here to go over this 2026 NFL Draft Cast. We call him Big Boss Borgonzi. You know, we let Rand cook and we burned the food, but we got Big Boss Borgonzi in back-to-back years. What he's done with this roster, I'm impressed with. We're gonna go over the draft picks. If y'all got any questions or anything y'all want to add to this mix, man, you're more than welcome to do so. Because I like to think that if somebody makes a comment and has an opinion about a player or about the draft, that it's probably somebody else who feels the same way they do. They maybe just haven't commented or voiced their opinion. So we'll start with that and say the first pick, the Tennessee Titans, at the top of the board. I think everybody was surprised because a lot of teams held their true intentions of what they wanted to do in this year's draft close to the vest. And what we thought some teams wanted to draft, they had different draft boards than we had. And that's why they're the professionals. They're putting their career and their job on the line to pick these said players, to evaluate them. They have huge teams that evaluate these teams. It's not just like one coach or one GM. Like, they have people that just stay full-time job year round to keep up with these college players. Nano in the building. What's popping? KT2 the GOAT in the building. Said Kansas City signed the wide receiver I wanted to have. And we got a wide receiver out of a lower division that we're going to go over the undrafted free agents too. But we're going to go over them after we do this initial draft class. Mr. 52, KT2 the GOAT, Corey D, YUG, what up? All right, so let's start with the first pick. First pick was Carnell Tate. We did a billion mock drafts, and in those mock drafts, what we tried to see is, like, if this person goes, what do we do? If this person goes, what do we do? Now, when I made my Carnell Tate mock draft back in early November, the first week of November, people were saying that, oh man, why are you taking the receivers? Because as a GM, you have to check the fact that you may be in the position that this may be the player that you should take. And when you look at it, everybody wanted Jeremiah Love or one of the edge rushers. David Bailey comes off the board, Jeremiah Love comes off the board, and then it becomes a decision, which I told y'all I didn't think Sonny Styles was going to be the pick at 4. I didn't think he was ever in play. It came down to the same thing I always thought it would be, was, do you go edge or do you go offensive weapon? Do you trade back? Obviously, the Tennessee Titans all along were thinking that Carnell Tate was higher on their board of a person that they would take, as opposed to taking Arvell Reese. Now, let me talk about that pick, because some people try to be critical of saying, well, you took Carnell Tate, but Arvell Reese is there. Well, last year we took Femi, an off-ball linebacker who converted to edge rusher, who was a physical freak. And people complained because they said this guy has to develop into the position of edge rusher. And it took a little time, but he was starting to turn the corner. And we hope that he can make that next step in year 2, right? Like Cedric Gray did year 1, rarely not even playing, but year 2, this guy's at the top of the league in tackles and one of the better linebackers in the league. So when you say the same thing about Arvell Reese, the Giants took who they felt was the best player, which is Arvell Reese, but they already have the backup plan that if he doesn't pan at edge, they're going to stand him up. Well, that plays into the Titans' other first round draft picks. We're going to get to that in a minute. But then the next criticism is people said Carnell Tate is obviously wide receiver 1 in this draft class with Jordan Tyson not even running the 40. You're definitely not going to pick a wide receiver with injury history at 4. Clearly, I don't think there's anybody who didn't say that Carnell Tate wasn't the number 1 receiver at 6'3", 4.5 speed from Ohio State, the best hands in the draft. Nobody's arguing. The best route runner. So if you got the best route runner, the best hands at 6'3" with speed on the outside, where's these people in my comments saying that he wasn't wide receiver 1? He was clearly wide receiver 1. What people say is he wasn't number 1 on his team, that Jeremiah Smith was the alpha in the room. Well, I got some bad news to tell y'all. Almost everybody would be a number 2 to Jeremiah Smith, but Carnell Tate has better hands than Jeremiah Smith. That didn't stop any of the other Ohio State receivers from being great, having another dog on the team. It hadn't stopped anybody from Bama from having 2 dogs on the team. Like, do you not want Jalen Waddle because Devontae Smith is there? Do you not want Jay Jettis because Jamar Chase is there? Like, what sense does this making? Is the player good and he has the upside to be the best wide receiver on the team or not? Because the Tennessee Titans had a problem with guys running routes and dropping balls. I don't think you're going to see that in Carnell Tate. That's the first set of hurdles to get by. The second set is Keldrick Falk, the second pick that we had, is a player that all year him and Anthony Hill people had Keldrick Falk at the middle of the first round. He's a prototype to the T of what Robert Saleh wants as a defensive edge in the wide 9, who's 20 years old. This isn't Mesidor at 25. This isn't a guy with no crazy history of injury. This is a dude who's going to be 6'6", 275 pounds, stepping in his rookie year at 21 years old. Then you get Anthony Hill Jr. at 60, a player that a lot of people thought would be gone at the end of the first round or the top of the second. You wind up getting 3 guys that are clearly 2 first rounders and a top 50 player. So I don't understand where people feel like the value is lost at. Keldrick Falk was rated higher than where we picked him at. And then we wind up getting Anthony Hill Jr. way later than people expected him to be on the board. That's why we moved up to get him. So those first 3 picks, you pick players that are blue chip players. They complained about Cody Barton all year. And then you go out and get a 6'3", 4.5 speed linebacker that has pass rush skills, as well as he's a good coverage linebacker coming from Texas. So I don't know. The first 3 picks, I felt like coming into the draft, if you told me that we were going to get the first 3 picks, I say there's no way that we're going to get those 3 players with the first 3 picks. What are we giving up? Who are we trading? What are we sacrificing? Now, the only part in the draft that I would say I have my reservations about is Tennessee Titans when they got Alontae Taylor, Cordell Flott. You bring Marcus Harris back. You get rid of L'Jarius Sneed, and you bring in Josh Williams. Now, with that group of cornerbacks that you just brought in, and that you got Adams, Jarek Reed, Kevin Winston Jr., and Amani Hooker at safety, I really thought the Tennessee Titans extra pick that they took a defensive tackle at, I thought that pick was going to go to a cornerback. But as y'all seen the big board, a lot of the cornerbacks that we wanted came off the board before we could get there. Now, with the next picks that we took after that, makes up for that, getting Pat Coogan, the center I've been telling y'all that we was going to get for, I don't know, God knows how long I've been yelling about Pat Coogan. And then the second running back that I had on every mock draft if we didn't take Jeremiah Love was Nick Singleton. So you get a home run hitter at running back. You get the center that you want. Then they get Carmona. They cried day 1 and day 2 about not getting interior offensive line because I asked PK in his stream. He ignored me, so I said it's got to be some validity to it. Are we going interior offensive line or linebacker on the 3rd pick? We went linebacker. Obviously, interior offensive line, everybody said, well, we should have addressed that. Well, if we went interior offensive line first, then they would have been saying we didn't get any skill players. So to turn around and get Carmona, who I said at the beginning of the draft of day 3 that I thought it would be him or DJ Humphries that we get an interior guard, because that's the 2 guards I always took in the late round was him and DJ from Texas. The fact that we got both of those, and then I had to do my homework on the other 2 picks, which when I had to go do some homework on Jackie Marshall and Jaren Kanak. I wanted to move tight end in the 7th round. Y'all know I've been saying Daquan Wright for the longest. I didn't do my homework. What my dog Cam has always first said, Jaren Kanak, a guy who in my mind fits a mold of Borgonzi likes to take late round offensive players that have built-in special teams. Last year, Khalil Mullins was a converted linebacker that wound up being the number 1 running back at Michigan. You draft him in the late rounds. This year they turn around and get a converted linebacker that converted to a tight end. That's one of the fastest tight ends in the draft in Jaren Kanak. A guy that's obviously going to play the move tight end role and immediately help on special teams. What did I say about Restrepo last year that's going to hold him back? The fact that he don't play special teams. So if you're going to be a late rounder, you better be able to play special teams. And I think he could be a special teams superstar as well as be a gadget player that comes in certain situations when we having that 3rd tight end come in, or we have a twin tight end role where we got somebody going in motion because of his speed. Jackie Marshall going from Denard Wilson's huge guys at nose tackle, the CJ Ravenels, the big guys like that, to Vondre Sweats, to having faster, more athletic guys at D tackle. Jackie Marshall fits the bill. I went back and watched some of his Senior Bowl footage, and he's quick. He's a super quick guy for his size that will be able to attack on the interior for Robert Saleh's defense. And that in all is the Tennessee Titans 2026 draft class, which I thought was back-to-back draft class of great picks. Tennessee Titans started with 9, and I was thinking they would maybe trade Will Levis. They didn't. And then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 selections. So you give up 1 pick to move up essentially, and you pick 8 out of 9 selections that you had. And I'm impressed with this draft class of guys that looking at it, that I think that everybody here will make the 53. I truly do. I really think these guys will make the 53. Now, let me get caught up in the chat and answer some of y'all questions before we can go into the undrafted free agents. Said we didn't need Arvell Reese. I'm not going to say we didn't need a blue chip edge rusher. I'm just saying that if you have him and Femi, whose natural position isn't edge, and you're trying to groom them into that the contingency plan is they're going to step into an off-ball linebacker. Once you took Anthony Hill Jr., it made every sense to not have Arvell Reese. What are the Giants going to do with Arvell Reese if he doesn't develop into the next why can't I think of this boy name that everybody want to compare him to? Why can't I think of the Cowboys to the Packers? I can't think of his name. Michael Parsons. Everybody try to compare him to Michael Parsons as an edge rusher that he'll step up into inside backer, a stand-up linebacker role if he doesn't pan out. That's the same thing for Femi. And you got Anthony Hill Jr., so you don't need a guy that if he doesn't turn into this edge rusher that of the future for you, that he's going to be a stand-up backer because you don't need that position. All right, Jay Frank, Mr. Swerve, Statman, Tyler Lee. Carnell Taylor is definitely a stud. Malik Neighbors, wild. Let's address that. Malik Neighbors comes from LSU. Now, all the great receivers that's been at LSU, did it make Jarvis Landry not good because Odell Beckham is there, or vice versa? when you talk about Jamar Chase and Jay Jettis, when you talk about Brian Thomas Jr., like when you talk about Marvin Harrison, Emeka Egbuka, JSN, all these guys, does it make them worse? Did it make, like, at any position of a school that has a heavy lineup of people where you call them like DBU or wide receiver U or running back U, it doesn't make the person beside them any less when they get to a team. You think about Jamison Williams and John Mechie together. Think about Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle. Devontae Smith and AJ Brown now. They're both two ones. You know, like, you want multiple good players. It doesn't make Cooper Kupp any less of a player that he's playing with JSN. It doesn't make Devontae Adams any less of a player that he's playing next to Puka Nacua. You should want to have guys that don't need the ball a lot but still ball out. So nobody's saying that Carnell Tate isn't a great route runner, isn't a dunker, and doesn't have the best hands in the draft. They're saying he's not better than Jeremiah Smith. Like, how many other receivers are we going to have the potential of Jeremiah Smith, who reminds everybody of Julio Jones, to say that about? Like, it doesn't make anybody they play with less of a player because they're playing with another great player. That it just seemed like Neighbors was just doing all that because he wanted them to take Caleb Downs, and last year he wanted them to take Shedeur Sanders over Jackson Dart. So he need to worry about getting himself back 100% to get on the field. He's exactly what everybody thought Malik Neighbors was, a great talent that just do too much. All these players that are super talented that do too much, I don't want them on my team. So it gives me flashback of Corey Davis. I disagree with that. Let me tell you why. Corey Davis came from a small school and was on a small school. Carnell Tate just came from a team that had a $20 million roster that just won a championship. That almost every damn player that played on, name me somebody on the Ohio State team in the last 2-3 years that didn't get drafted to the NFL at a premium position. Comparing somebody who came from the most, like, I'm a Bama fan and I'm saying Ohio State is the team right now that's spending money and got the talent. Look at the draft. Saying somebody came from a pool of Caleb Downs, Sonny Styles, Carnell Tate, Caden McDonald, like, literally the whole team got drafted. Comparing him to a player that played on a small school would be like saying you're comparing Carnell Tate to Ted Hurst. Ted Hurst is the player that played at the small school. Now, if we took Ted Hurst at 4, yes, we'll be sitting here a little with the, or even at 35, we would have had the eyebrow. He's not coming from a small school. That's the difference. You guys say, like, compare him to a player that went to a small school. Okay. I see the O-lineman, not the greatest stand-up O-line, but with the play action and bootleg, I see the vision. Since when did Pat Coogan not become the best center in the country? Like, some people might have got hype off of watching somebody in the combine do practice, but on the field, we watched Pat Coogan play an entire season and not give up a sack at center and control for the national championship team. And you seen him be the team captain and leader for the offensive line for Notre Dame the 3 years before that. So I don't know where we get this thing that, like, because Pat Coogan isn't the most athletic center. Well, guess what? We had Aaron Brewer. He was the most athletic center in the league, but he was undersized. So we got rid of Aaron Brewer, and Aaron Brewer went on to be a Pro Bowler in Miami. I'm saying Pat Coogan, in my mind, was the center from the get-go that I wanted the whole time. I've been on record with that. Now, Carmona and DJ were late round guards. Vega was clearly the best guard in the draft. If we go on guard, then I like Basantis and Pregnon, but even Pregnon failed. So you have to say, if they bring Kevin Zeitler back and you still have Carmona and you still have Jackson Slater, Austin Sloatman, Voltman, Cordell Volson, and Dellinger with Peter Skoronski, like what are we talking about? Like, the line improved. It's not like Lloyd Cushenberry was Tyler Lindenbaum or something. He's a guy that never played, and we had Corey Levin, a lifetime backup center, behind that. I think we improved the position. Because before, everybody was saying we didn't draft interior offensive linemen. We got the center I wanted, and we got one of the late round guards I thought we would go after. But if they re-sign Zeitler, then everybody going to be sitting there saying, because you've seen Borgonzi say he thinks Jackson Slater will be better as a guard. So what if Jackson Slater is the starting guard and they have Pat Coogan and Sloatman fight it out for center? Falk was a top 10 pick. That's what I'm saying. He only failed because he wasn't super productive at Auburn. But look at Auburn and all they went through. When you go through firing coaches and the guys basically the highlight of somebody's defense, like, people run away from you. And he's young. He's 20 years old. So, like, he's still going to continue to grow. Michael B., what up? And then here's the question. What second round edge that's going to fit Robert Saleh's mold is better than Keldrick Falk? I'm going to wait on that. Because they took Williams last year out of Georgia in the same position. And I think this year, when him and Bosa come back healthy, 49ers defense going to go up. You have two guys that's like 6'6", 6'7" on the edge. Crystal ball stickers in the Cowboys picked up Michael Trigg. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the draft, when I was saying move tight end, Trigg and Daquan Wright was on the board. But I went back and looked at Jaren Kanak and see this guy running a 10 flat 100-meter dash at his size, and the guy played linebacker for 3 years, so he definitely fits a mold of, like, he's not like Restrepo where you're like, this guy's only a slot receiver. You look at Kanak on a team that never carries a fullback, so we always have 4 running backs and 4 tight ends. It's a guy that's gonna get that 4th tight end role because he's gonna play special teams with Bones Fossil. Y'all know how Bones Fossil is. Yeah, I like Tyron Montgomery. We're gonna get into those undrafted free agents in a second, Tennessee. We can still trade him before the June deadline, though, right? Yeah, I think that some of these injured players that didn't get moved during the draft process, I really feel like teams are going to wait to see how these guys come back off an injury and practice first. Malia, what's good? Yeah, I said Jay Jettison, Jamar. I'm like, bro, like, I be fair. Everybody would love to have T. Higgins on their team. I would have sold the farm for us to get T. Higgins. He's the second receiver behind Jamar Chase. It don't mean he ain't T. Higgins. The Colts just gave $30 million to Alec Pierce. Titan fan base wanted to give up the $30 million to get Alec Pierce. But Michael Pittman Jr. was the number one wide receiver on the Colts. Michael Pittman was the number 1 on the Colts all these years. Did this mean that Alec Pierce didn't have 47 catches for 1,000 yards, averaging almost 20 yards a catch? Like, those are the things that, like, you have to just put in your head of, like, bro, you want 2 good receivers. Like, now that you put Carnell Tate, he's going to be out there with Wan'Dale Robinson, Calvin Ridley, Chimere Dike, Alec Iomana, KJ Osborne, Bryce Oliver, and Restrepo. Like, does the wide receiver room not look like it? Like, we finally got some depth, the guys that can get open and dunk and put the ball in the hole, or not? That's the question you got to ask yourself. It's because we the Titans, we can't have nice toys. I was worried about the O-line. Now I'm not. I'm glad that people are starting to come around to that, to see the vision of, if you listen to Borgonzi, he don't lie. He kind of tell you in the details that he see Jackson Slater as a right guard. Jackson Slater ended the season as a right guard. Maybe that's why Zeitler ain't came back yet, because he know that Jackson Slater is a better guard than him at this stage in his life. He's 35, 36 years old. Maybe that's why they got Dellinger and Volson. Maybe that's why they got Carmona, because they're going to draft Pat Coogan and put Pat Coogan and Sloatman at center. TJ, what up? Yo, Corey Montgomery, oh, for sure. Caught up in gaming. What's poppin', my boy? I like the draft class. That's what we're here to go over. That was the last 27 minutes was me running down what I thought about the draft class. Yeah, that's definitely how you help your quarterback, is by going out and getting weapons on offense. TJ, we good. All right, now we about to get into the undrafted free agents. All right, I think I got it saved over here. All right, we're gonna pull up on Justin Melo's page. Titan size. Shout out to them boys. All right, look, man, stop clicking on that, bro. We don't need all this. Get this off my screen. All right. Tyrone Montgomery is who everybody in the chat's talking about. Tyrone Montgomery is the guy from the Senior Bowl who was dunking on everybody. All right, let's see. So this is Tyrone Montgomery. This is the guy that everybody's been excited about as an undrafted free agent, because he's an outside X receiver that runs nasty routes. He's 6'3". He's got 4.3 speed. And if you can't see, guy can get open and dunk. Every highlight that I've seen from this kid, every highlight I've seen from this kid is this kid making a fool of people in the Senior Bowl. Nasty release, getting off on people, going crazy. Definitely. Now, if we picked him at 4, you could say Corey Davis, but dude's nasty. I think the days are numbered of the Mason Kinseys of the world with Mike Borgonzi, because this guy went crazy in the Senior Bowl, really cooking people out there. All right, so that's one. Latrell McCutcheon, senior cornerback out of Houston. We didn't get any corners in the draft or safeties, which was one of the places that I wish we would have been able to get an extra pick up there, between 100 and 200 to take a shot at a developmental corner, followed by Manny Powell, linebacker from Purdue, Jalen McMurray, cornerback from Tennessee, Jaden Lucas, cornerback from Clemson, Shaw Banks, linebacker from UTSA, Bishop Fitzgerald, a safety out of USC, Trenton Allen Yo, cornerback, Arkansas State. If you can't see, this is the MO of the undrafted free agents, which they're saying that there should be about 4 spots for this group of guys to make it in, unless they cut some other players that's on the current roster. Emil Wagner, offensive tackle out of Notre Dame, Hank Beatty, wide receiver Illinois, Sean Brown, linebacker NC State, and Brock Rechsteiner, wide receiver. I think that's the Steiner brothers, one of their kids, if I'm not mistaken. So if you had to ask Buddha early on this list, who's making it as an undrafted free agent, I'm saying Emil Wagner. I'm saying Tyrone Montgomery. I'm thinking then it comes down to one of the linebackers and this safety right here. I don't think any other guys got a real shot at making it. So Montgomery, McCutcheon, Wagner, and then pick one between the linebackers and the safety. I think these other wide receivers got an uphill battle with Tyrone Montgomery being there as undrafted. So shout out to all the undrafted free agents. One of the greatest Titans of all time, Nate Washington, was an undrafted free agent. Pro Bowl center Aaron Brewer, and obviously the Honda Nick Westbrook-Akine, who 2 years ago led the Tennessee Titans in receiving touchdowns. Seeing as the most receiving touchdowns from any receiver pass catcher this past season was 4, having an undrafted guy have 9 in a season is quite crazy. All right, now let me get back to the chat after we went through that. I still want to pop the Cardinals on their pick for love. I'm not even mad about it now that we got Nick Singleton. Y'all know all year long, going all the way back to the fall, every mock draft where I didn't have Jeremiah Love, Nick Singleton was my running back that I always got stuck around between pick 100 and pick 150 of wanting to take him because he's a home run hitter. And with Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears being on their last year, getting a guy that could put the ball in the basket, so to speak, that's a bigger running back. Like, you got to remember, Nick Singleton is bigger than Tony Pollard and bigger than Tajay Spears, bigger than Michael Carter, bigger than Julius Chestnut, but he's faster. So this is going to be interesting. We're going to get into how the depth chart looks in just a second. Said this was a weird draft to me. The draft overall was a lot of trades and people moving around. A lot of, like, I think 8 teams didn't pick in the first round. There's a lot of teams with multiple first round picks. So it was kind of all over the place. The draft itself was exciting, if that's what you mean by weird. But the Tennessee Titans draft, I loved it. Oh, for sure, Cody. Texans definitely had a good draft too as well. I hate to say it, but I got to say it. I'm excited for Nick Singleton. My phone blew up when he got drafted. It was crazy because we were saying it right before he got drafted, and you said it, and then he got drafted, and I was like, oh my God, like, KT is really here, really got his boy in his draft. That's crazy. All right, so let's look at the depth chart real quick. I'll take myself off the screen so y'all can see it better. When you look up and see that Carnell Tate with Calvin Ridley, Wan'Dale Robinson, if we're coming out of the gate with that, with Chimere DK, A.O. Monner, KJ Osborne, and now this undrafted free agent kid will be fighting Alec A.O. Monner for that outside spot. This makes me wonder, will down the line, if some of these players develop, will Calvin Ridley still be trade bait for next year for draft capital? That's going to be interesting to watch the competition in that wide receiver room. Running back, you have obviously Nick Singleton, Tony Pollard, Tajay Spears, Khalil Mullen, and Michael Carter. It's going to be interesting to watch how that shakes out with TP do $9 million this year and only $2 million guaranteed. Tajay Spears on the last year of his contract of his rookie deal, and he's one of Rand's guys. Khalil Mullins can play special teams. He's a former linebacker, one of Borgonzi's guys from last year. And then Michael Carter is obviously one of Salah's guys. So with Julius Chestnut on special teams. So this is going to be interesting. Got Will Levis right here, Mitch Trubisky, Cam Ward. I thought Will Levis would be dealt during the draft, but he wasn't. Seems like teams weren't that interested in the quarterback position initially in this draft. Outside of a couple teams taking a stab, Steelers taking a shot at Drew Aller and Kay Klubnik to the Jets. All right, Dan Moore at left tackle, the $82 million man, with Austin Deculus behind him, and Crenshaw Dixon will be the 2 swing tackles. The interesting part is that Carmona played tackle before. Some of these guys have played tackle before, but I don't expect them to kick out. I expect Austin Deculus and Crenshaw Dixon to be the swing tackles, along with this guy from Notre Dame, knowing that last year the Titans came in with 11 offensive linemen on the initial 53. Obviously, Pete should get extended, and then Cordell Volson, Dellinger, and Carmona will be the rotational guards. I think that Carmona and Volson will be there. It's interesting to see if they still bring back Zeitler. If they bring back Zeitler, that's a lot of depth. Pat Coogan and Sloatman to fight it out right here. And then obviously J.C. Latham hopefully has a healthy year of football. All right, Gunnar Helm, tight end 1. No Chig Okonkwo, but we got Daniel Bellinger that came to follow Brian Daboll, Colin Granson, and DMR David Martin Robinson with Jaron Kanak. So I think between DMR and Granson, one of these guys are out. I think Jaron Kanak, with his athleticism, will be that fullback 4th tight end role because he plays special teams and he's a former linebacker. So that's how I see the offense stacking up. Defense, the one place that I wanted them to go in the draft in the later rounds was safety right here, or another corner right here where Michael Robinson is at. Who knows if they want to bring in some veteran guys. They may be bringing veteran guys in, because listen to Borgonzi. You got to trust him when he talks. He said that Marcus Harris is one of the biggest nickels that Salah's ever had, and Kevin Winston can play in that box nickel too. Tony Adams is one of Salah's guys that came with him, and obviously we still got money, so I want to see them add a little more depth, considering the position we put ourselves in last year with Snead and Amar Davis, and how bad that all got after we cut Cheeto. We kind of got ourselves into a situation when we traded Brownlee Jr. to the Jets. So interesting to see what they do with the secondary. Obviously, we are stacked. Jeffrey Simmons, John Franklin Myers, Solomon Thomas, Jordan Elliott, now Jackie Marshall, CJ Ravenel, Herring Gay, pretty deep interior line, and then on the edge trading for Jermaine Johnson. We now have Keldrick Falk and Femi coming in the year 2 with Jalen Harrell from Michigan, Tennessee Titans, and we got Jacob Martin. So Titans have more depth at D-line and edge than they've had. So I want to see them add a little more depth at safety and for a competition and at the bottom tier of our cornerbacks. And then obviously you got Anthony Hill Jr., Cedric Gray, Cody Barton, Mahmoud Diabate, and James Williams. A lot of size and athleticism in the middle linebacker positions, guys that can play all over. So I think, with that nickel wide, I think that Tennessee Titans have definitely added to this 53 and made it something way better. I told y'all the Titans got to get out of people that their ceiling is special teams, that we need to start making the entire roster where the floor is special teams, not the ceiling. So we definitely have improved the roster, the talent level all around. And if some of these guys develop, like if Femi and Keldrick Falk develop and Jermaine Johnson step back to what he used to be, and Anthony Hill Jr. develops next to Cedric Gray with James Williams, Diabate, I think the guys that could be trade bait if all this starts to come out will be the Cody Bartons and the Tony Pollards and the Calvin Ridleys of the world. I think the Tennessee Titans are starting to put something together. And just remember, Tennessee Titans have more cap space than any team in the NFL. And they have players like Will Levis that they still may be able to deal for future capital. So I think Borgonzi, Big Boss Borgonzi, the wise guy, I think you definitely got to clap it up for this offseason. You cannot fill every hole in one offseason. You cannot make up for the John Robinson and Rand Carthon, a lot of misses that they had in a 4-year stretch. When you get to thinking about the AJ Brown deal and not being able to put the offensive line back together, and the end of Tannehill to Will Levis, Malik Willis, all the things that they've done in the last several years. But you gotta like where Mike Borgonzi has this roster looking, and the coaching staff that they assembled with Reggie McKenzie, Chad Brinker, Burke Nihill, Ziegler, that whole crew, and what they've put together in the coaching staff of Robert Saleh, Brian Daboll, and White Cotton, Gus Bradley. They really put something special together. I like everything that they have done in the front office. He said, is that the end of Restrepo? I think it was always the end of Restrepo, bro, that when he didn't get drafted, you got to think of like, he could be the new Mason Kinsey. But I mean, when you look at that wide receiver room, tell me, when you got Carnell Tate, Calvin Ridley, Wan'Dale Robinson, Chimere Dike, Alec Aomunor, KJ Osborne, Bryce Oliver, Xavier Restrepo, and then this Tyron Montgomery, this undrafted free agent. Who are you more excited about, Tyron Montgomery or Xavier Restrepo? You have to just put that into perspective and say like that was a cool thing. Where did Ched go? He went to the Commanders. He got a pretty big deal to go to the Commanders. But when you add in Jaren Kanak is just as fast as Chig, probably be faster. That's going to be the move tight end. The thing we worried about with Chig was his hands at time. I love Chig. Chig is great with the ball in his hands, but not a good blocker and just the move tight end. Jaren Kanak can actually play special teams. Bill, what up? I love y'all offseason draft moves. Might compete for the South this year. People's like, oh, so y'all are making the playoffs now? I said they won't be 3-14. They'll be a better team. They'll be trending in the right direction. We'll cross that bridge when we get here. Just because we made some decent moves. It ain't like everybody else ain't trying to get better too. This was a rare draft where I felt like a strong percentage of teams got better in the draft, and then the ones that I didn't like they draft, their offseason in general was good. Then you got to see how everybody translates onto the field. Just because you got some good players don't mean that the coach is going to get the best out of them, or some of these guys ain't going to go to jail or get in some domestics or do some stupid stuff on the way before week 1 hits. I like the draft. They did a good job making this team whole. Still got a lot of work thrown, but I like the direction. Gotta love the direction. Ravens showed up. Borgonzi was definitely a mafia boss in his last fight. Wise guy, big boss Borgonzi. We like the draft board. I could have drafted this last week. You know what I'm saying? He definitely is the godfather. Oh yeah, Chig. See, Chig was a monster that people underappreciated because our offense was so poor. He's gonna shine with being over there, and they got Zach Ertz, and he can just kind of float. See, the problem is he can't be the number 1 tight end block and then lead the team in receiving too. The way they're gonna use Jaren Kanak is where we needed to have Chig at all the time. Like, you got your 2 inline tight ends and Gunnar Helm and Bellinger, and then you could just let Chig go in motion and float and find mismatches. Like, that's what he's supposed to be used for. I just think we used him wrong the time he was here. And then at some points he did have issues with catching, but I love Chig. DeShammer, what up? But this was definitely a draft that I enjoyed. Smooth draft went crazy. Cowboys did their thing in the draft and the offseason. I'm not even gonna cap. I am unbiased. Coming to Nissan Stadium this year too. Oh, that's gonna be lit. He said just go how the game plan stuck to it. Everybody thought they were sold on Love. Everybody fooled. They got their guys they was going for. To see them get Keldrick Falk and Anthony Hill Jr., I just started saying, the whole time y'all tricked us, had us thinking one way, and y'all really was going the other, which was impressive. And then the fact that they were still able to address the interior offensive line with guys that I've been talking about all year, and get a running back I've been talking about all year. The only surprise was Jackie Marshall and Jaren Kanak. I know they wanted to move tight end. I just didn't do my homework on Kanak to put him on any of my boards. And then Jackie Marshall was a person that was in the Senior Bowl that they obviously worked out and liked. And then when I went and watched his tape, I was like, oh, he's twitchy. He's a big guy that can get off blocks quick, which make more sense. Like Denard Wilson's big guys were just big guys that take up space. Like in Robert Saleh's defense, the big guy's going to have to be able to move and shake, which makes sense. The reason why he got rid of Tavondre Sweat and was able to get Jermaine Johnson, because the guys that's playing edge have to hold the point of attack at the run. So when you look at Jermaine Johnson, Femi, and Keldrick Falk, they for sure can do that. And if you doing that and you giving John Franklin Myers and Jeff one-on-ones on the inside because they're holding the point of attack, it just get real spicy. And the Titans got plenty of money. So like, let's say the draft go through and the June 1st cuts, the Titans can be the team with the bag to address any positions that other teams couldn't pay for, or they can still make moves. Not shopping really, because if you look at the room, if you look at the wide receiver room, Carnell Tate, Calvin Ridley, Wandale, you definitely starting there. And then Chimere DK, if DK continue to grow at wide receiver in his route running tree, then yeah, you could feel comfortable to trade Calvin Ridley since you restructured him. But now that we restructured him, I sit him out there. Carnell Tate, Calvin Ridley, and Wandale, Then you come Chimere DK returning kicks. Then he coming off the bench with A.O. Monter, KJ Osborne, Tyron Montgomery, Bryce Oliver. Like, we got some real depth. But if you did trade Red, let's say Tyron Montgomery and Chimere DK and A.O. Monter all get better, you can feel confident to get rid of Ridley. But right now, Red is still like 1,000-yard receiver when healthy. So you put Carnell Tate, Wandale, and Red out. Like, that's the most talented our wide receivers have looked to start in a long time. Then you put in DK, A.O. Monter, and Osborne, and Tyron Montgomery coming off the bench. We getting cold out there, Bill. Jets was a good one, but who throwing them the ball? You have all that talent. You got Geno Smith and got Cade Klubnik. I would say, like, they got 3 first-round picks next year. I think they did right, though. Go get talent all around the board, because they got D'Angelo Pons, too. Like, they put talent everywhere. They got 2 really good tight ends. They got some good receivers. They got Breece Hall back. You know, like, they added a lot. And now, after adding a lot, they can say, like, if Geno Smith can't hold the fort and Cade Klubnik get his shot at the end of the year and can't show no promise. Like, Tyler Shuck showed promise at the end of the year. Jackson Dart showed promise at the end of the year. It's some young quarterbacks that got their opportunity and showed that they deserve an opportunity. So, like, if Geno and Cade Klubnik don't show nothing, you got 3 first-round picks next year. They can go get Arch or whoever it is they want to get. Now, that means Aaron Glenn will probably be out of there, but it's a smart game plan to not overextend yourself. When I look at it totally, from the Cardinals to the Jets to the Steelers, they all said, like, look, we're going to put ourselves in a position where we got a veteran and a young guy we ain't got that much invested in. 3rd and 4th round picks. If they get a shot in the last 5 or 6 games of the year and they can't do nothing, then you right back in the drawing board again anyways, trying to get a good veteran that you actually, because, like, the Jets got Cade Klubnik in the 3rd and they only spending $1 million on Geno this year. Like, the Cardinals haven't gave Brissett money yet, but they got Gardner Minshew and Carson Beck. The Steelers haven't made a decision with Aaron Rodgers, but they got Mason Rudolph, Will Howard, and Drew Aller. Like, they ain't got a lot invested in it. Like, let's build everything else up, and then we see, like, all the teams can't strike out. You know what I'm saying? Like, every team can't strike out. Stat, Corey. Yes, we did, Boss Country. If you've been in my stream, my last mock I had Pat Coogan. I was dying that, like, before we picked him, I'm yelling at the TV, and I think I threw my hat on the stream when we picked Pat Coogan. You see, I was just finna say DK keep developing, might as well. You know, because, you know, DK got the speed and the talent. You know, it's just like he has some drops. He has some route running issues. Like, if he continue to grow. So, like, what if Red come out and ball? You know what I'm saying? Like, and you got Carnell Tate and Wandale now, like, then you coming off the bench with DK and A.O. Monter. Like, that's really put some pressure on the defense. Finally, we can go deep. It says Son Red, y'all number 1, of course, but Tate should give him some space out there with Wandale and them. That's what I'm saying. Like, and those guys, like, Carnell Tate then played all over the formation. So Reed, Carnell, Wandale, DK, they all can play slot. They all can play outside. Michael Jackson move was good. We just got back. They said Diego Pavia is a Shanghai Shark. He's going to be in Birmingham playing for the Stallions. Once Eagles trade AJ, looking for a veteran safety. It'll be something out there. Trust me, Eagles and Howie Roseman have no problem finding and sucking up all the talent in the NFL. Y'all got the GM that always ahead of the curve. Man, 52 minutes flew by in the shop just like that. Hey, listen, man. Y'all guys got any more questions for me? Cause y'all know I'm here for y'all, not the other way around. Yeah, see, the thing about AO is just like his hands. AO don't have the crazy speed, but he dunk and he's physical at the catch point. I just need AO to catch the football. If AO can catch the football, then he's going to be perfectly fine. He's gonna be perfectly fine. But I see he been in that gym. Boy look like an Avenger out there. Dre Day, he looked like an Avenger in his workout videos. Boy, like he been working out with Derrick Henry. What you think about Thieneman, the Bears pick? I see the vision, but we're really trusting the Ricky up top. Thieneman is probably like one of the ball hawk safeties in the draft. Like behind Caleb Downs, if you watch Oregon play at all, Thieneman is all over the field, bro. Thieneman is all over the field. Like I like Thieneman. Like he's a tough and he fast too. Like to me, Thieneman is like Cooper DeJean. You know what I'm saying? Like who had the best draft in the NFC East? I don't know. Giants got some goons. Commanders added players, but I'd put them at the back. Cowboys cut up in the draft. I ain't even gonna count. Eagles always have a good, but I think the Cowboys cut up in the draft. To be fair, I think the Cowboys cut up in the draft. But Eagles offseason, Eagles been going crazy. Tariq Woolen, Jonathan Grenard, Mekhi Lemon, Hollywood Brown, like you know what I'm saying? Like Eagles is always gonna Eagle. So I'm saying, like, I'll be fair and say most of the league did great this offseason in the draft. It's only a few teams I look at and be like, man, what was y'all thinking? What's your prediction on our record? I'm gonna say 10-6. Can't be 10-6 because it's a 17 game season. I say we should be like right at or above 500 football. I watch you say he rangy and nice, but then you're a rookie. Get dark sometimes. But look at Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean their first years. They ain't had no problems. Look at Emmett Warrior his first year. He ain't had no problems. If you get in the right system and they get you where lined up where you supposed to be, I ain't worried about a rookie. Draft grade for the Titans, I think coming into the draft, if I told you we was gonna get Carnell Tate, Keldrick Falk, and Anthony Hill Jr., I said, damn, we traded out of 4? No, we stuck in pick at 4. Then if I told you in the rest of the draft, bro, we got Pat Coogan, Nick Singleton, Carmona Jr., a defensive end and a move tight end, you'd be like, it's literally what I pick on my draft board all the time. So I'm gonna say an A. This is the best the Titans 53 looked in a while. I mean, Giants got Arvell Reese. They got Maui Noah. They turned right back around. Giants had crazy. They got Colton Hood. Giants went crazy too. Yes, I do. He said undrafted cornerback Jalen from Tennessee. No. The undrafted free agent that I had it up here a second ago. Undrafted free agent that I like was Montgomery, the wide receiver. And the offensive tackle we got. I think the best cornerback we picked up in undrafted was the guy from Houston. I think the guy from Houston is better than him. Eagles definitely cook. I love the Malachi Lawrence pick from the Cowboys. I like Malachi Lawrence. I say he's one of the he the guy that could turn out to be the James Pierce Jr. because he gonna get with Quentin Williams and the boys they got. He gonna get to run free and just pass rush. He gonna get to do what David Bailey do. Don't forget to run, bro. Just go get the QB. I didn't like the Browns taking the quarterback. I didn't like them taking a quarterback, but I love the rest of the Browns draft. Browns kind of smacked it 2 years in a row. They got to trade back and get the tackle they wanted in final, and then get Casey Concepcion and the wide receiver they wanted later in the next round. And they got McNeil Warren out of trading back, so Browns kind of smacked it. I was confused at the QB situation, but they smacked it. Raiders picked up some good players in the draft too. I mean, obviously they got Fernando Mendoza. They got their quarterback. They got Mike Washington. They added some speed on the outside, and they made a trade that most people didn't see. They traded Tyree to the Saints. You surprised the Giants? And they got Javon Holland though. Like they got Javon when the Dolphins was having a fire sale. They got Javon Holland, so it's like they really did need to. Arvell Reese was the best player on the board when they took him. I think they're gonna stand Arvell Reese up. I think they're gonna have Brian Burns and Abdul Carter. I think they're gonna stand Arvell Reese up. I think he's gonna be like one of them delay pass rushers. Then when Brian Burns gone, I think they're gonna move him down the edge. Kind of like how the Cowboys did Michael Parsons when he first got him. Ravens had a great draft. They got Vega. They got 2 wide receivers. Like the Ravens do what we think the Ravens gonna do. I like the Ravens draft. Lamar has nothing to cry about now with talent on the outside. I think they get rid of Miles. They building. I don't think they getting rid of Miles. Browns coming here too. The game gonna be lit. Man, that's gonna be a lit game. Should do it in Cam Part 2. I mean, Colton Hood and Jamal McCoy was the guys. How the Seahawks did. They got Jadarian Price. They basically replaced every player that they lost. So if those guys pan out in the future, I don't expect them to repeat or nothing. But I mean, they added. I mean, I don't think I'm gonna see a difference when JSN, Cooper Kupp, and Shaheed is healthy. I don't think I'm gonna see a difference between Jadarian Price and K9 out there running the football. Honestly. Tyron is going to play with a chip on his shoulder. He's a fighter. How you think the running back room gonna play out? Yeah, I kind of showed that earlier. It's gonna be interesting. Tony Pollard do $9 million, only $2 million guaranteed. 4 straight years, 1,000 yards. Tajay is on his last year. He's one of Rand's guys. Khalil plays special teams, converted linebacker, short yardage back, and then Michael Carter and Julius Chestnut. I just think it's pretty simple that Michael Carter and Julius Chestnut go to the practice squad, and Nick Singleton fights Tajay Spears for reps. I think if they wind up finding a partner, they move Tony Pollard and go Singleton, Spears, Mullins, Michael Carter. If they can get something for TP. Because even if TP have a good year, it's his last year. You know what I'm saying? Even if Tajay was to have a good year, it's his last year. The future in the running back room going to be Nick Singleton, Khalil Mullins, and then your backup will be like Michael Carter. Michael Carter will take over the chestnut role. You see what I'm saying? But because they didn't spend a high pick, I could still expect the Titans to next year's draft or free agency go get another running back. That's my honest thoughts. I think Burns stay. They got rid of Kayvon Thibodeau. Who got Kayvon? I thought Kayvon stayed and restructured because they got the 5th-year option on him. But that's an hour in Shop Talk, man. Appreciate the questions. Appreciate the engagement. If you missed this, I did a full Tennessee Titans pick-by-pick draft recap. The first so over many minutes of the stream, then open it up for y'all questions. If y'all got any more questions after this, drop them in the comments of the YouTube, which we now partnered and monetized on, and as well as the other platforms that we drop content on. I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna drop this in a few minutes. I'm gonna edit it and put it out. If you want to go back and see it without any fluff or any so you ain't got to do no skipping. But I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all really truly the best. God first in the chat. And on this great Sunday, we out. Hit that subscribe, like, comment, share. Tap into the daily uploads at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. If you missed the live streams, we got picture in picture. And if I don't get to any questions during the live streams or the pods, drop them in the comments. I'll make it part of the weekly mailbag. If you're following on the blue, smash those reactions. I know you're OG. hit that like, comment, share, tap into the daily content that is the shop. If you're new to the shop, you definitely should be tapped in on the green. No ads, up to 50 emotes free for just being a follower. You do not have to be a supporter to unlock picture-in-picture, late night streams. Follow us on Kick. We also live on Twitch. Look out for the drops, as well as if you have Amazon Prime, it's free $99 to sub to the channel once a month. Don't let Jeff Bezos stick that money back in his pocket. If you don't use it on the shop, use it on another content creator that you like. I still call it Twitter, but follow us on X. We tweet back. If you missed the daily shop talks, make sure you tap in for the late night cap on the purple and the green. The Discord is always open. Outside of subs, donos, and cash apps, there's also another way to support the content. That's by grabbing a trucker hat, a bandana, hoodies, plastic barbershop, Vibe Nation, right out of the official merch store on Tactic, formerly known as Geeks Unleashed. Code Buddha at checkout.